Zoey Greco, intuitive mentor, numerologist, and spiritual support system to women everywhere currently overthinking a text message.
Girl, just send it already.
She's been called too sensitive, too emotional, too much, and somehow turned it into a career.
God forbid women have hobbies.
Now she's helping you discover and develop your intuitive power to hop timelines into your dream life.
Higher Self Hotline. Oh, this one's for you.
From numerology forecasts to spiritual hot takes and definitely some oversharing, this is
Higher Self Hotline.
Your direct line to the divine. Hello, divine darlings, and welcome back to the Higher Self Hotline. I'm your host, Zoey Greco.
And I'm your co-yapper, Amelia Elsie Buxton.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to come back for our first Let Me Ask My Psychic episode of the new season, season 13. And we do have some listener questions. But first, Amelia actually pitched an idea for a new segment on the podcast that honestly, I don't think it's going to feel that new to you guys because I've been doing this all these years anyway, but I love the idea of giving it a name and giving it an identity. So we are actually going to be starting a segment here called Crybaby Club, where we're going to share with you the things that have had us crying lately, just the things that have us in our big feels. And our hope is that we'll be able to like share some clips or some videos with you as well of like things that have been happening in our world. So bear with us through this season as we like dive into this new segment and explore like the style we want for it and the content we want for it. And if you guys have feedback or input, you know what to do. You know where to leave it. Send us some messages at podcast@zoegreco.com. You can also submit in the comments, or if you have comments for the show, you can also submit those at zoegreco.com/hotline because we'll take all your info there. But we ask that you just kind of bear with us and go on this ride with us as we explore this new terrain. And I'm feeling really excited to get into it today, Amelia, because I have so much to talk about. And there's been things that happened last month that I haven't had a chance yet to talk about here on the show because we were on hiatus. And then, our last episode we did together was numerology focused. So I have a lot of things to talk about. Have you been in your feels much lately?
Yeah, I have. And it's funny when we get into it, the main things I've been in my feels about are like polar opposites. They're like, yeah, they're kind of polar opposite. And when I was getting ready for this, I was like, thinking to myself, oh, what would be like a cool cry song that I remember that like goes with this? And this is like one of those non-stories. And I was singing the song by Hilary Duff because Hilary Duff, love her. And Hilary Duff's, one of her like album eras, she had a song, which I thought until like 5 seconds ago, she goes like, cry, a woman of the part of. Anyway, I was singing this to myself and then I was like, oh no, the song's called Fly, not Cry.
I know exactly what song you're talking about. That's so funny. I was
funny in a picture. It's like, oh my God, like every week we should have one different cry related song to introduce this, but it's Fly.
We should make a cry playlist, a crying playlist. Okay, wait, yeah. Okay. Assignment for you and me. We need to make a Crybaby playlist for listeners. Okay. And maybe we'll split it up by era because I feel like we have like there's such a range of crying music, but I love it. Also, I was thinking about like now I'm kind of addicted to making like intro songs for the show. So like I want to make like a little song for the Crybaby segment. Like I want to make one for the numerology forecast. So maybe by the end of this season, those will be born. I have so many creative irons in the fire right now. I don't know how I'm going to come up with 2 new jingles, but I believe in myself. So we'll see. But, I feel like every single kid of, the early 2000s, when they were coming of age, if you didn't like pretend to sing out the window while it was raining and from the back seat, like during a song, like you didn't live. And I feel like Coming Clean or Come Clean or whatever by Hilary Duff.
It's thinking that in my head as you were saying
it's the classic like looking out the window, like crying, like it's It's classic.
And I also need to note that if you are watching this and see a different background, I am currently in LA. I am in a different location today. And I brought my wand for my mic, but I did not bring anything to stick the mic on. So, you know, she did her best, but she failed this week.
No, you know, it's not your fault that you're a jet-setting, traveling, chic author. Like author, is there like a feminine form of author, like authoress? Is that a thing?
I don't think so, but maybe we'll just make it for us. Or
yeah. Yeah. So I love that for you. I think it's chic that your background is different.
Thank you. Thank you, Zoe.
Yeah. Sorry, I just can't find any fault with you. Speaking of Amelia being in LA, guys, Amelia and I got to see each other at Disney at the point that you're hearing this, or at the point that we're recording it, it was just a few days ago. It was like 3 days ago that we were in Disney living our absolute best life. I can't lie. I did do a pretty significant amount of substances, and it was my first time enjoying substances at a Disney or at a theme park in general. And it was amazing. I had a fabulous time. I ate my way through Disneyland and California Adventure. Like, I was literally stopping strangers as they were walking by and being like, excuse me, what the hell are you eating and where did you get it? It was
I want to acknowledge, like, Zoe was also stopped multiple times by people saying that they loved her outfit, they loved what she was wearing, they loved her purse. Like, it's real, guys. Not that I ever doubted it for a second, but in case you did, it's fucking real.
Well, we're definitely gonna get into that because so Amelia brought a friend with her, Abby, who I ended up just like absolutely really loving. Abby is also an Aries, so I'm sure that there's something to it where like, oh, you know, real recognize real. A fellow fiery Aryan woman, like, yeah, I'm here for it. So it was Aryan, is that the right term? Aries female. You know, I was here for it. And so at the beginning of the day, like a couple people complimented me as we were entering the park. And then earlier that same day, so Ethan and I actually flew in the morning of. So we flew in just literally with like my purse and like his little man purse, and got on the plane at 7:30 a.m. and then got on a returning flight home at 9 o'clock that night. So we actually didn't like bring anything with us besides like what we would take to the park if we lived nearby. And so I was saying how like when we got on the plane, the first like 6 rows of people were just like, your outfit's incredible. You're amazing. Like, you're the cutest person ever. And I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. And they're like, you put in so much effort. Like, we want to praise you, like everybody. And I just stopped and I go, I love this plane. And so I was telling that story. And then much later in the day, after like, you know, we had a bunch of people stop me or talk to me or whatever. Oh, no, sorry. So I was telling that story in the morning to you and Abby. And then, and Abby was like, oh, interesting. Like, you know, like I could tell like maybe she was a little like put off by that. And so later in the day, after a bunch of people had stopped me throughout the day, Abby turns to me and she goes, you know, I really thought maybe you were like a narcissist or something. Because when you just said that like everyone compliments you all the time, I was like, okay, girl, whatever. But like, no, it's real. Like, this is a real thing that like really happens to you. And I thought that was such a fun and an interesting comment. Like, I seriously took no offense to it at all, especially just like getting to know Abby. We're both just like very direct. Like, I had already said to her that day, like, I like you a lot more than I thought I would. Like, we're just like very like blunt with each other. And I thought that was such a fun thing because I know that I'm very often like misinterpreted or misunderstood, but I've kind of like worked my way through it or worked my way past it. I'm just like, yeah, it's a fact of life. Like, when you're vocal and extroverted and confident, like, people will misunderstand you. And it's very rare nowadays that someone like actually says to me the thing that they were thinking. And I was like, oh, actually, like, that's kind of fun and interesting and like provides a really interesting reflective like mirror. And it felt totally like neutral to receive it. So I thought that was like a really fun experience. And I just I love meeting new people, and Abby was so delightful and interesting and intelligent. And I feel like all day we were all having such great conversation. It was such a good time. However, there was one moment.
Best moment of my day. And like one of the best moments of my life.
Really? It's the best moments of your life?
In terms of memories and like core memories. And I will always remember that.
Oh, I love that actually. So for anyone listening who doesn't know this about me, I am so afraid of heights. Like it's debilitating. Like it's something that's completely physiological. I have zero control over it. Like I respond to height by just like freezing and starting to like sway with like dizziness, and like I just can't really function. And so we all decided to go on the Ferris wheel. Mind you, I have consumed a decent amount of substances. So I'm really like feeling hopeful and optimistic. When I look at the Ferris wheel, I just think, yeah, this is going to be fun. And then we decide to pick a swinging gondola, which, you know, on the Ferris wheel, as it's moving around, there's certain
points, like when you look at the Ferris wheel, there's certain points of where it's going that tilt. It's not just like something that goes around slowly. It's something that goes around slowly, but it also has places to swing.
And I would say it swings pretty wildly.
Pretty significantly, guys. And all of this that Zoe's saying about being terrified of heights, I did not know any of this until we were going up on the Ferris wheel.
So I just like think it's going to be fine. I'm not sure why. And the whole time Ethan is like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, it's going to be so fun. I'm just so happy to be here. So we get in and we're starting to go up and up and up. And it really starts to dawn on me how flimsy the doors are on this thing and how it's really so mobile. Like even telling the story, I'm getting a stomachache. Like it's like swaying, and I'm just starting to panic more and more and more and more as we get up. And the thing is, like, I thought the Ferris wheel would go around and then once and like drop you off, like back at the bottom. That's not how it goes. It goes up and then it stops. So then someone can get in, and then the other gondola, and then it goes up again. And then it's like, you're on there for quite some time. And we went around twice, which we weren't expecting. So we unfortunately don't have a video of this as it was happening because Amelia thought better than to record me while I'm having a full-on fucking freak out. Do you want to tell what this was like for you?
Keep in mind, like, I am someone that if I see a moment that we're going to want to tune into in the future, like, I will capture it. But I did not know that Zoey had like, when she was starting to freak out, I was like, oh yeah, you know, like freaking out because it's crazy. And then suddenly I was like, and I remember I started to get my phone, and it just dawned on me, oh shit, she is panicking, and this may not be something to record. I think this shit's serious. And I'm looking at Abby because I know what's coming on the ride, which is like, this is before it had fully swung. This was just going up. And I remember significantly looking behind me and saying to Abby, she's gonna fucking hate this bit. And that's when it swung.
As soon as we started to swing, like I was in a full kind of panic. Like I'm kind of like shaking. I'm screaming a lot because I'm really scared. I'm shutting my eyes. I'm like holding on to the little like gate. You know, it's like a I don't know what you call it, like a metal fence. Yeah, like I'm like, you know, fingers grabbing. I'm freaking out, and then all of a sudden it starts to swing. And both you and Abby put your hands out to me. You each grab one of my hands. Ethan's got his arm around me. And you're both just like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, we can do hard things. Like, you're going to be okay. It's totally fine. And it genuinely, and then I started sobbing uncontrollably. And as I'm sobbing, I'm like, I swear I'm having a good time. I swear. And you guys were both so there for me. It was such a beautiful, fun, like sisterhood moment. And like sharing that with you, obviously I felt would like come very naturally, but like sharing that with Abby, who's someone I just met, was like such a joyful and fun thing. And like even on our very first ride of the day, we did Guardians of the Galaxy, and we all just like grabbed onto each other, and we're just like holding each other and screaming and like, you know, holding hands. And like there was something so tender about it. And it was just like, I was in my favorite place, doing my favorite things, except for like being up in the sky, like with my favorite people, having just like such a wonderful, great day. And I really had this moment, even while we were up there, and I'm having this like major catharsis where you guys were all like, it's okay. Like you're just letting the emotions out. Like it's going to be fine. Like I'm having this major somatic catharsis. I couldn't help but think behind all of that. And maybe I couldn't articulate this at the time, given my mental state. But like my childhood self would have thought that was a perfect day. Like, and would have thought that that moment in the swinging gondola as I'm screaming and these two amazing, wonderful, like talented, intelligent women are like holding my hands and cheering me on. Like, that's exactly what my inner child would have loved and lived for. So honestly, great core memory. We do have a video of me screaming on the other way around. So we'll insert that right here, Mike.
I think it's a bear or a wolf. Okay.
And I can assure you that that is maybe 1 out of 100 in terms of the reaction I was having on the first ride around.
I like that we have that though. That's part of our little things. You always wish that you could have recorded those moments, but like there was just no there's no way when the tears started coming, I was like, there's no way I'm like doing this. But it was such a fun day.
In the future, you have full permission to capture me mid absolute fucking crash out. Like I welcome it. Yeah. Maybe, you know what? Let's go again. I'll meet you there tomorrow. Yeah, I loved Disney so much. What was your favorite ride we did that day?
Oof, my gosh. Probably the first one, because that wasn't Ethan didn't want to go on that because he's not into like the super, super big ones. So it was just you, me, and Abby. And I remember like, cause if anyone's been to Disney or been on Tower of Terror, it's the same thing in Disneyland, but they've reimagined it so that it's about Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's up and down, up and down. So much fun, but terrifying. And I knew that I was like, oh, maybe I should go in the middle because like, these are my friends and like they're just getting to know each other. But I just had this feeling of like, no, I think they should be close together, because if there's a way to get connected, it's screaming and holding onto each other. And so just that first drop, because I don't know, I felt like the rides were just so much more intense than I remember. And like the first drop, I looked to my side and like you and Abby are like holding each other's hands, just screaming, get your goddamn brains out. And that was the best one, because I was like, oh, there we go. The ice is broken.
It was so fun. When she grabbed me, I was like, oh, okay, we're there. Great. I love it. And it was like, that's the day now. Like we're all touching each other and grabbing each other all day long. We did have a crybaby moment at the Disney park together. But at least we went through it together because, so do you want to take us through this one? It feels more personal.
So, well, I hate to say it to you guys. It was quite traumatic, quite tragic for me. Is that we were riding on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is like a really fun water ride. There's a dip at the end. It's a lot of fun. And I lost my hat. I lost my favorite Disney bucket hat, which, you know, like when you're in Disney, you don't really get like cool stuff. You just get like merch and stuff. This was a really cool bucket hat that I'd had for about 2 years. I always wear it. And I know the annoying thing is like, I'm a Disney adult, guys. Like I know better. That's what pissed me off. I know better to wear a hat on a big ride like that. I forgot how steep it was. And the moment I realized how steep that drop was, the hat was gone. I felt it leave my head and I felt myself.
I watched it fly over my head. I was like, oh, but it was too late.
And then we got absolutely drenched, guys. Zoe's little purse was full of water. She turned it
my heart purse, my signature heart purse was full of water. We both got soaked. So like literally, so my passport was wet. It was like Amelia and I truly looked like we had both gotten in the shower with our clothes on, and no one else on the ride got wet like that. And we were like, okay, cool. And like, so we're just wet and miserable. And then we go into Haunted Mansion where it's dark and cold while we're fucking soaking wet. It's like, okay, great. But otherwise, it seriously was a perfect day. And I'm so sorry, Amelia, about your hat. Like I felt the pain of that when it happened to you. I lost something at the park as well. I think someone might have taken it off my bag actually, but I had the secret Crybaby Cutie But Wild, or Wild But Cutie. The ones where they're cats. I had the secret and I had bedazzled it, like personalized it, and it wasn't on my bag the next time I checked. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's what I mean. I have submitted a request to the Lost and Found people because I'm kind of like it. I lost it in such a unique way that I'm like, truly, if you look next to where the big drop on the ride is, you'll probably find it. So,
Yeah, it's probably there.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
or maybe it was floating in the water, but they're going to get the hats out of the water. So I have faith, but even if we can't get it from Lost and Found, I did find people selling them on Poshmark. So we can replace it. Because I found a couple actually, and they're like $20. So like I'll buy you 3 if you want. And that way you have backups for days. You can wear them on any ride you want.
No, I agree. I think if I don't find it, I will buy it again because it's like a cool reversible hat. It's just really
It's
cool,
so
guys.
cool.
It's so cool.
I realized today that on your like personal Instagram that you're wearing it in your picture.
Don't even.
I know. I was like, oh. So I had a feeling about that this morning. So, Amelia, what has been making you emotional lately? What's got you as a certified crybaby in the Crybaby Club?
Yes. It's interesting because they're all love related, but like the different steps are kind of sweet. They start off sad, but they get sweeter. So the first thing that made me cry was the way that man spoke to me that I was dating last month. And if you guys don't know about that, listen to the numerology episode. I give you like the rundown. But yeah, it made me cry. And it's funny because it wasn't even in that moment where things were breaking down. It wasn't even that what he said hurt my feelings. It's how differently he changed from like the sensitive, vulnerable, emotionally intelligent man to who he truly was, which was a bit of an asshole. And I found that like his comment, he gave a lot of low blows, but they didn't touch me because I just knew they weren't true. You know, it's like, if you think of the pocketbook of low blows that you see on Love Island, like it's the kind of shit he said where I'm like, dude, if you're gonna be an asshole, like go for an insecurity. Don't go.
Hit me where it hurts, bitch. Put up or shut up. Literally.
Hit me where it hurts, bitch is amazing. So yeah, I think that was a shock to my system of like, when you spend such intimate time with someone and you trust someone in that way and I remember speaking to my therapist about this conversation we were going to have, and she was helping me prepare for like different eventualities. And I was like, no, I don't think it's going to be. I was so blindsided. I was like, no, it's not going to be. I think it's going to be a really great conversation because why wouldn't it be? So
I'm so cool and nice. Yeah, totally.
We've had great communication. So that was really shocking and surprising. And that did make me cry, but I let it, it's one of those where I'm like, I cried because of course it was something to cry about. I let it go pretty quickly. But then something that I cried a bit more deeply about was the fact that even though before it broke down, it was like a wonderful time spending with this guy, I found that throughout last month, my creative projects really were a bit of a wash. Like I posted Bookstagram content twice. Keep in mind, I've been posting like 4 or 5 times a week since January.
Yeah, you've been super consistent.
Yeah, and I hardly wrote in my book as well. And it's interesting because something I really liked about the time I spent with this guy is I felt very present, not like there was a constant brain space being taken by the connection. But then when I look back on it, I'm like, well, where did all of that creativity go? And so I was getting upset at the idea of like, is this what happens when you try and you put yourself out there with a potential partner, that you are just going to have to sacrifice your creative fire? And my friend was saying to me, like, I don't know if it's that. I think it's that when and she means me specifically, when your nervous system is at its most relaxed and you're feeling like just alive and in love with life and all of this, that is when the creativity comes through. Whereas even though there wasn't anything bad with this guy until it broke down, he wasn't ever going to be something aligned with what I wanted long term. And like no shade to him, but we both knew that, like that just was what it was. And so I'm almost wondering like, shit, because I wasn't in an aligned thing. This is what I'm processing right now. Just figuring out if like you have to sacrifice pieces of your day to day and in order to dive into the dating or romance, or if it is to do with like misalignment. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that, being married.
Yeah, I have thoughts on that. So first of all, I want to just say like, it's so incredibly normal to cry when someone is unkind to you. Like, no matter whether it's true or not, especially when you're not expecting it. Like, like when you walk up and hand someone a flower and they slap you, like that's completely confusing. Like, of course you're going to feel that way. You know what I mean? So I think you're definitely stamp of approval in the Crybaby Club on that one. Like makes perfect sense. And also, this other thing that you're talking about, this almost like a pain about the idea that you can't have all your wants at once, and that like maybe like the price for connection is like loss of connection to yourself or your work or something. And I would say that I think that's evidence of misalignment, because yes, like you do need to put kind of more like energy or attention into connections. Like your primary connection, it requires a lot of your like mental capacity, but it also should create more space for you so that you feel like you have the room that you need to exist to your fullness. Like I can truly say in my relationship that I'm never encouraged to stop wanting or reaching ever. And it's not that I'm pushed to want or reach. It's that like I'm allowed to want as much as I want and reach for as much as I want and be as much as I want. And I think when you're in a relationship that's functional and healthy and supportive, you actually get so much of your brain space back because you're not so worried and concerned. So it's like when you were saying, like, I didn't feel like it took up a lot of my capacity. I feel like it probably took up more than you realize in just like the emotional toll of like the instability of it and like the uncertainty of it. And like from the beginning, like, you know, is this too much or can it's like, I think there was just something like the whole way through that took up more space than you might have realized, because it was misaligned. Misalignment is what makes it taxing and like difficult. And alignment is what makes it easeful, is like my lived experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that, it's something I just need to sit with, because I agree with everything you're saying. There's definitely this part of me that's like, but, you know, I'm trying to go out my comfort zone and have different experiences and see what happens. But then also, you know, I knew even when one thing I always said to people was, this guy isn't my type. He's not my type. He's not my type. And even though that was from a place of, I'm trying something different. Now I know is like, well, how misaligned is he from your type?
It's a lack of resonance.
Yeah. And I love the phrase you said about when you hand someone a flower and they slap you, it hurts. And I'm like, this is what happened. When you invite someone over for tea to have a conversation and it ends with them telling you to go to therapy, it hurts.
Yeah, totally. You know what a person who needs to go to therapy's favorite thing to do is? Tell other people to go to therapy. It's like their pastime.
I know. But the nice last thing I cried about was that I actually went to a wedding this past weekend, and it was my first adult wedding in life, and I was just a date. It wasn't even like a friend of mine, but it was two wonderful men. Shout out to Brendan and shout out to Riley, and the vows that they shared with one another were so beautiful. And I think it rounded off, like, you know, naturally when you go through these experiences with guys, regardless of if it's casual or not, you find yourself thinking, I am never going to meet someone. I'm never going to meet someone. That's just going to be my life. But then when you hear those vows shared between people and you're like, no, you will find your person. And then spending time with you and Ethan and being around the frequency of love. And my friend is dating someone. I'm like, I really want to try to continue soaking that up. And yeah, I cry at love, at like beautiful love like that.
You're a lover girl.
I sure am.
It's what makes you such a great authoress, as we decided to call you today.
Exactly.
Amelia, thank you so much for sharing these things. I feel like your openness toward our listeners has just been so like beautiful to experience. I've never gotten to share this journey with someone else like this before, so it's really cool. Like I love doing this with you, and I really think you just add so much to this experience, and you add so much to this experience for me. So I hope listeners are feeling the same way. But I think everything you're bringing up is like so insightful and so interesting, and you're just like so attuned. And you know what's interesting too is like I feel like on the other side of this, like the ending of this relationship, you're like more yourself, like, and more tapped in. And I just feel like, and I feel it in you, like as your friend. So I want to maintain your optimism because you deserve to be loved like so deeply. And I can't wait to see you so in love and being loved. And I just think it's upon us. Like it's already in motion. We haven't arrived at the moment yet, but we're on our way there.
Thank you, Zoe. I think so too.
So those were our crybaby adventures at Disney. I think, one of the other things that's had me really in my feels lately is my like fame journey thing. And I was telling Amelia before we started recording that there was part of me that was like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, I feel like I'm so annoying. Like, you guys are probably like, we get it. You're trying. I feel like I always talk, like I repeat myself so much when I talk about personal things on the show. Because I like stay in seasons for quite some time and like work through them slowly in pieces and then just like try to share where I'm at as I go. And with this, it's like, I think because it's already about like receiving attention, the idea of talking about receiving attention and receiving attention for receiving attention feels, first of all, very like meta, and second of all, like very self-focused and like arrogant and annoying. And I was telling Amelia that like this feels like it's very clearly my ego that's trying to prevent me from talking about it, because every time I do, it lights people up. Like there's something that's happening. There's something that I'm going through, and I've never experienced this before. And this was not on my bingo card, but I also on some level, like knew that this was coming. And I even told George Poulos a few months ago, like, something is happening to me and I'm not in control of it. Like I'm going through something and it's already coming. Like it's already happening. I can't stop it. It's like something is underway. Something is moving. And over the last couple of months, really pouring myself creatively into things for the podcast and things for the business, like going to San Diego and shooting the new intro and then working, in that capacity of like, I was a director. I literally directed on set. Like I learned so much about filming. I learned so much language. I have a whole new vernacular now for working with creatives. Like we went to New York City and I did a photo shoot for the business that was like super, super rooted in very like personal things. Like I went to New York City because I'm from there. It was like in this process of reclaiming my name and myself and my identity and like my true personhood, I really felt like I needed to go back to where it all started. And there's like little Easter eggs throughout that like won't, I'll talk about them, but like they won't really make sense to people, like anyone but me. But they were like little like love notes to myself throughout like, all these things that I'm creating and doing. And I feel like my skill set has expanded tenfold in just the last month. But as that's been happening, I've had a lot of things that I'm noticing and ways that I need to I'm like emotionally and energetically adjust in response to what's happening to me. So the first thing I notice is that when I do these big creative projects, I am physically destroyed at the end of them. Like the end of both of those shoots, I felt genuinely like I had been murdered and brought back to life and forced to stay in my like murdered corpse. Like I felt like I had been run over by a fleet of Mack trucks. Like I'm so serious. I felt like I was never going to physically recover, but emotionally and energetically, I had never felt more like on it. Like I was a better coach. My psychic power was more activated. Like I had never been more fucking in the flow in my life than the hours and days coming off these projects. And so what that told me was, in order to build a capacity for this, I need to build a physical capacity for it. Anyone who says that like modeling or acting or like being on set or being in front of a camera for hours and hours and days and months and weeks, like it isn't hard, is fucking wrong. Like that is so hard. Even just doing it for like 13 hours to like, 5 hours, like that was a lot. So I got the message that I need to build physical stamina. The other thing that has been coming up and coming through during this process is obviously that being creative on a large scale is extremely important and pivotal for me energetically. Like things just, every single time I do it, it's like I timeline hop. I felt like I really hopped timelines at the shoot in San Diego. And then when we were in New York, while I was in New York, we'll insert a clip right here, but I got to see myself on a billboard in Times Square for the podcast. So we'll put a clip right here, Mike. So, like, while I was in Times Square and just the whole time I was in the city, people were like stopping me and like asking. When I was in San Diego, someone asked for my autograph, even though she didn't know who I was. Like, I've had people asking for my autograph, even though they don't know who I am. I have people like asking to take pictures with me, like little girls coming up to me asking me if I'm famous. Like, I'm getting all of this attention, and it was like Ethan was there when this was happening. I mean, he's always around me and he always sees it, but like this was a very concentrated experience because we're in the city. Even Ethan turned to me and was like, that seems like so hard. Like that's a lot. It's a lot to receive the attention. And I just kept telling everybody that was like stopping me and like talking to me like, oh, I'm just a person. I'm just a person. And so I told this story over on Instagram and somebody commented, I wish I could remember who it was. If it was you, put your name in the comments. But they were like, famous people are just people too. And I was like, oh my God. Fuck. You're so right. Like, so I have to build a capacity for physical stamina and I have to build a capacity for attention.
Yeah. And to be honest, you have a real, I don't know, there is definitely something about your energy, like when it was happening around Disneyland, like we're all nice people. If someone comes and compliments, it's like, thank you so much, like have a great day. But there's something about the way that you acknowledge them, which I'm not saying it to be like, you're like, oh, like, it's more like, it's just the way that you acknowledge, like even I'm thinking of, I can't remember his name. Was his name Dan, the security guard?
Dan the man.
Yeah, he was giving us like, just great recommendations and just like the way you spoke to him. I think like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, like I'm with a famous person. You know what I mean?
I think like, I think there's something magical that happens. Like, oh, it makes me want to cry actually, which is okay. Because this is the Crybaby Club. I'm doing it right now. I think there's something like when people see me, I just want to see them back, And I do. And I think it like does something. Like it's this really activating thing. I'm so emotional about this. It feels like it's like this ripple where like, if I'm brave enough to let someone notice me and like think, something nice about me, and then I can be a mirror to give that back to them. It's like that the impact of that love like doubles, in that moment. And yeah, it's just what I feel like I'm here to do. Like when we were in the city that day, I had little girls, like a couple little girls coming up to me and like commenting, or there was a girl from India she's from Mumbai, and I had never been to Mumbai, but I've been to India. I spent 3 weeks there back in 2023, as listeners may recall, the OGs, the real ones. You guys remember when I went to India. And it was so cool because we were able to talk about like, where she's from and like the fact I've actually been there. Like it was something so magical. And I had all these little girls coming up to me and I had this moment where I was like, holy shit, like I could be a role model for little girls. Like I could teach little girls like you can dress however you want and be whoever you want and like, just be yourself in this world and like people will like you. And yeah, like it's kind of like hitting me in this season of life, like what this really all means. And it's not too big. I'm just like learning to grow my capacity for it. And like part of that is even like having this conversation and crying on the internet. You know what I mean? Like I'm just learning about like what it's going to feel like and how much of it I can hold right now and how I need to learn, or like how I can support myself in learning to hold more. And it's going just at the right pace for me. It's like not too fast, but it's not too slow. But but it's definitely like very stretching. And like the tears I'm feeling aren't from the pain of stretching. They're from like the peace of growing. Like, whoa, like this is beautiful. And it's like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like the way it, like a, you know, like a beautiful movie makes me cry, or like a beautiful story makes me cry. Like my story is making me cry because it's beautiful and I'm enjoying it. But I'm definitely like, it's really ramped up ever since I started talking about it. And what's really crazy about that is you, me, and Tuesday had a meeting like in the biz months ago. We had like a social media meeting. And we were talking about like a series, like, oh, like I should make a series of some kind. And I had this thought at the time that like I want to be famous. Like I'm going to be famous for helping people and helping them love themselves. Like I should share that journey. And I was like, ew, cringe, no. And I took it and I put it away. But like my intuition knew that that's what I needed to be talking about and that's what I needed to be sharing. But it's like, my work has always been about other people, you know? And so making it so much about myself feels really foreign and weird and like confusing and like it's the wrong choice, even though it feels right. Like my intuition is like, this is what needs to happen. My old stories and my old programming are kind of like encouraging me to distance myself from it. And I'm just doing the thing that I teach everyone else to do, which is like, we have to make the uncomfortable choice of doing the thing that feels true, even when it feels hard. And so I'm doing it and it's working. And the fact that it's working means I have to do more of it. So it's like a little bit of a cycle, but it's like so magical and rewarding and crazy. And I can't even believe like the momentum that it's gained and like what's happening in my like life and my energy. And I'm just trying to like learn how to hold it all. So big share. Lots to say there.
And I love that, like, you know, what you're speaking to, these people who are approaching you, what came through is like light recognizes light, and how whatever energy you're giving off is encouraging someone to want to approach you and want to talk to you, like with anyone. And I always think like whenever you walk past someone, I mean you figuratively, and you see someone on the street and they look nice, or they have, I don't know, there's something that you're like, oh, there's something I like about this person, say it, because that is how we create this ripple effect. And, you know, another piece of what you're sharing, everyone refers to like overwhelm as like a negative feeling, but honestly, I think this is like an overwhelm of impact. And I think I think overwhelm can also be not necessarily a positive thing, but it's just like a very real feeling. You can feel overwhelmed with love and overwhelmed with like gratitude. And with this, it's like overwhelm of the impact that's already being made from this. So it all feels like very, very present and very grounded, just because I know you personally and I also see it in real time. So, but I love witnessing it.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that it's grounded, because I feel like often when we feel big feelings, it's seen as ungrounded, or like a lack of control, or like, yeah, something about it feels unhinged perhaps. But I actually think like being in my body and being in my feelings and being in this process versus like trying to disconnect or dissociate from it is grounded. So I really appreciate that reflection. And I think when you're describing overwhelm, what it made me think of was abundance. It's like, it's an overflow, you know, it's
yeah,
it's like pouring out of the top of my cup, and like abundance will feel overwhelming if you don't have the energetic space to hold it. Like if you don't have the energetic capacity for what is in front of you, abundance will feel overwhelming. And so, yeah, I'm just feeling like very abundant. Like everything is coming easily and fluidly. And like, I'm learning so much about not having to like force or fight for things. And also not like, I feel like sometimes we force, I'm curious if you've ever experienced this, Amelia, or like if you have any thoughts about this, but I feel like sometimes we force things because we're just trying to avoid the thing that's really being asked of us from within. It's like, you know, like there's this journey that I'm supposed to be sharing. And so instead, because I feel like it's uncomfortable, I force another project or another direction or another endeavor to try and like find a way around the thing I don't want to do, but still get where I want to go. It's like, okay, I'll be successful, but only if I get to do it like this versus like this. Does that make sense?
It does. I kind of resonate with it in terms of like, it's tricky because like the decisions and the things I'm dipping into in dating and stuff, like no regrets. And I feel like what I'm doing in those moments is coming from a smart place. But to your point, there is a lot of it where like I'm forcing myself to get out of my comfort zone in a bid to get closer to the thing I actually want. But realistically, it's still far away from what I want. So it's interesting to like relate that.
Yes. I feel like, you know, we're coming at the moment of recording, we're coming right out of, you know, this just the collective energy of the 7 into the 8. And so like the 7 is all this introspection, and like the 8 is like, what are you going to do with it? You know what I mean? So it's like, I know exactly. So it's like we were getting all that introspection, and like today that we're recording it is actually July 1st. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do with it? You know what I mean? So it's like, oh shit, yeah, what am I going to do with it? I'm excited to see what we both do with it. I'm excited to see what flows for us next month when we do our next Crybaby check-in. But I feel like we could take a listener question or two.
We sure can. Let's have a look. Okay.
Remember, guys, you can submit these at zoegreco.com/hotline, and we'll answer your question right here on the show.
Okay, so question number 1. I've noticed something about myself that I can't seem to shake. Every time I have a really powerful intuitive hit, my first instinct is to tell somebody else about it instead of acting on it. I'll text my best friend, ask my husband what he thinks, or bring it up in therapy. I already have thoughts. By the time I've got someone else's opinion, the energy behind the intuitive hit is gone. Why do I feel like I need other people to witness my intuition before I trust it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to go with this one. I relate to this so much because, you know, last month when I was going through like a Friends with Benefits attempt, I ran the perspective and the story through so many filters, through so many different people. And it ended up making things really difficult and making it really difficult to like tune into my own intuition on it. And what I found was, and this was just me personally, that I feel like I've got so many areas of my life locked down, but when it comes to love and dating, it's not locked down. So I really struggle to trust my intuition because it's an area of life that I've not figured out yet. And so I almost wonder if these intuitive hits you're having, are they relating to something that you're still figuring out in life and feel like you don't quite trust yourself to know what's right? That's something that I would ask because, yeah, I think we all have a habit of running things through filters to like validate what it is we think we're feeling. But then the problem is everyone else's opinions comes from their experiences, whether it's projection, protection, all of the other stuff. And suddenly you find yourself being like, well, fuck, that was fun, but now it's gone. I'm never going to touch it again.
Wow. Okay. First of all, I want to just say you absolutely ate down with that. And I love the way you related that to your own experience. Like that was so insightful and actually not what came to me. So I'm like so excited by what you just added to this conversation. That was amazing. I got like the thing that came through to me was talking about it is a way to make yourself feel like you're being productive. It's like you're because you're pouring energy into it where it's like, I'm talking to this person, I'm talking to this person. And in reality, what you're doing is crowdsourcing for like permission, basically. And I think that's so interesting that we do that as human beings because what I would do for myself is not what someone else would do for themselves and vice versa. Like what I am uniquely called to do in this world is not what you or you or you or you or you is pursuing. And vice versa. Like, so to seek permission from someone who doesn't understand your assignment is like so unnecessary and so obstructive. Cause like, we're not usually going to get that permission. Someone that the assignment isn't for is going to be like, that doesn't resonate with me. They're going to think it's a bad idea. And it's like, it's not fucking for them. It's not for them. Like, so I think that it's a way that we let ourselves feel productive while like very subconsciously or not giving away our power instead. While we think we're being productive, we're actually giving away our power. And it's a way to like procrastinate from having to actually do the thing, which is another way that we like protect ourselves from what we fear as being the inevitable pain of like pursuing the thing that we're intuitively called to do. So why do you do it, listener? You do it because you're looking for someone to tell you that it's okay. You're waiting to feel ready, but you're also trying to understand it more and piece it together and like come into clarity. Like some of us are external processors and some of us do require more data points than others. Like intuition does require data points. Like I can only be super intuitive as an empathetic practitioner because I have 1,000 fucking data points of emotion. Like I can feel something in someone and go, oh yeah, I do know this one. This one is despair. It's like, because I have all those data points. Intuition requires data points. So it makes sense that there's a part of you that goes and gathers data points, like wants more information. However, you're seeking that information from the wrong place. You need more data points in terms of like things that you absorb and witness in the world, things that are like little winks and nods, things that like are just messages purely for you, but you're rarely going to find that through another person. However, it can come to you that way. So like, for instance, one of my clients was telling me yesterday that she's feeling ready to shadow a death doula. And she was like, I've been thinking about reaching out to somebody, but I haven't done it yet. And then a death doula that I know reached out to me about getting together and getting lunch. And so it's like, oh, perfect. You can speak to her at that meeting. Like she asked you, like, you know what I mean? Like the universe will keep giving you winks and nods. But if you keep going to everyone around you and saying, is this a wink or a nod? If it's not the wink or a nod to them, then they're going to say no. You know what I mean? Like, and we're all on such unique journeys that like, that's not going to help you. But I do want to give this listener and like some flowers because this is a great question and also really allows us to kind of like dissect how like physical and cerebral and like human intuition can be, like how to operate intuitively in a human way, which we don't always get to talk about in the spiritual space. It's like we're always keeping it very like esoteric. But this is like intuition in action. So it's like a great question.
And I think it's also acknowledging the difference between like gut check and intuitive hit, because at its core, intuition is a sacred thing. It's sacred to you, to your body, to your experience. And, you know, echoing what Zoe said, we need data points to a degree. But also when you feel this intuitive hit, because it's stronger than just like, no, like I don't want to, you know, have something for dinner. Like my gut tells me not to eat this today, that type of thing. But then an intuitive hit is like, I think I need to like move careers, or I think I need to like break up with this friend. Those types of things, like maybe it's a case of writing it down or really sit with what the intuitive hit is telling you and treat it as sacred before you go and capture those data points. Because what happens is when you get the data points from a place of, I don't trust this intuitive hit quite yet, suddenly like this intuitive hit is like this little fragile thing, which is getting slowly like broken away by all of the other
diluted. Yeah, exactly. It's like your intuition is like the hit is like a black liquid at the bottom of a cup, and like every opinion you put on top of it is like clear water, like diluting it and diluting it and diluting it until eventually you're like, it's so spread out, I can't find the pieces of it anymore.
Oh my God.
You know?
Yeah.
It's so true. Ugh, great question, listener. We love you. Thanks for that. Amelia, you ate that down, girl. I loved every single word you had to say. I slurped it up.
Yeah, thank you. Ready for question 2?
Yeah, let's take another one.
Okay, so I finally launched a business I've been dreaming about for years. Woo! And to my surprise, it's actually going really well. I've had more inquiries than I expected. People are referring their friends, and on paper I should be thrilled. But instead, I keep feeling this urge to pull back. I've caught myself thinking about raising my prices and then immediately wanting to lower them again. I even caught myself hoping no one else would book this month because it suddenly feels like too much. Why would I spend years working towards something and then want to hide the second it starts happening? Well, if you rewind this episode 20 minutes, Zoe will tell you what that's like.
Yeah. Honestly, you know, this is so interesting because one of my clients is having a really similar experience right now. She and I were just talking about this, where she just started her business after wanting to do so for years. And, we've been working on like how to promote it and like how to just like literally getting her to get it started. Like I just held her hand in the process, where it's like, okay, here's what you do now. Like, here's what you do now. And like, as she's only like a month or two in, and she's already getting like 3 things that are checked off her like wish list. She's like, I've always wanted a wait list for clients. I've always wanted to like, she's starting a mediumship business. She's like, I've always wanted like to, do group events, and that she's already been invited to do 2. And it's like, she's getting all these opportunities and they're freaking her the fuck out. And she was like, why is this freaking me out? And why is it happening so fast? And I was telling her that like, she's actually spent all these years preparing for this. Her preparedness, like in her skill level, she's been studying and studying and studying. She studied with me. She studied with Taylor Page. You guys love Taylor Page. Like she studied with so many people. She watches the craft in action. Like she fucking put the work in before she actually started the business. And so her skill level is so high that it's attracting opportunities that her level of belief has not caught up to yet. And her level of comfort and her like emotional and nervous system capacity has not caught up to yet. And so it's very, very, it's like, it's hitting me that this is like the same thing, like this idea that it's all coming so fast for you because you've been wanting it for years and you've been preparing on levels that you might not even recognize that make you so booked out to the point that you're like, no more, no more. And honestly, like that's actually okay. It's okay to like grow your capacity for something. It's okay to be a little afraid of the things that come to you. Like you always have to do everything for the first time. Like there has to be a first time for everything. And like the first time for some things feels really big when you really care about it. And so of course you're going to feel nervous. And of course you're going to feel sensitive or, heightened or nervous, but like that's part of it. You feel those feelings and you do the thing. You can't avoid those feelings. If you're trying to avoid the feelings, you're never going to get where you want to go. So I just want you to know that like, you can give yourself time to adjust your capacity. You don't have to be able to hold it all right at the start. I think that's an unfair expectation on yourself. And giving yourself time to grow. Yeah, like if you want to limit your schedule until your nervous system has capacity for more, you can. And you'll know intuitively when you feel like it's time to bump it up another person or two, But like raising your prices and limiting your schedule, that's all just about trying to turn the flow down. And so like, what if you don't? Like, what if you don't criminalize that to yourself? Like we just had Veronica Mandujo in the Container as our guest speaker this month. And she was talking about how like when you're doing a somatic exercise, if you start to feel overwhelmed, you feel your body wanting to like shut down or stop doing it. And then let your body tell you when it wants to come back. Like, don't force your body, right? So it's the same thing. It's like, don't force your nervous system. Like, it's actually okay. Here's your permission slip, listener. Take it easy. Mm-hmm. Take it easy till you feel like you can handle a little bit more. That's okay.
I also think as well that when like life really begins responding to what we have been dreaming of, even though logistically we have prepped all of those things, to a degree, we're still, energetics and like self-development. This is still, it's not a new idea, but it's still not something that has been as common in the past, it's only come about in the past like 10 years or so, I would say, that like it's more of a mainstream conversation of self-improvement. So we're still like, give yourself some grace. We're still kind of catching up to the fact that it's not just a case of figuring out the 3D aspects of getting what we want, but it's also, the quantum, the 5D, like whatever you want to call it, whatever like spirituality you subscribe to. And it takes a minute, and it's always going to kind of feel a bit like, oh shit, I wish for this thing, now it's here, and now I think I don't want it. It's not that you don't want it, it's just that maybe your just energy hasn't been quite prepared for it. And as Zoe said, it's okay to pause and be like, okay, I'm going to take a breather instead of thinking, which we all think, if I let this go, it's all going to go. It's not quite how life works. Like if you're a good person, you've worked this hard, this thing has been handed to you, don't let go of it, but it's okay to pause it. If it still feels like it's something aligned, but just something that you need to like take a breather from, it's not going to drop in 24 hours. I truly believe that.
I totally agree with that. Like our blessings circle us until we can hold them. Like I believe. So if there's just not space for like that ship to pass through, like it's just going to keep circling. So, oh, so astute, Amelia. I love that. Do we have time for one more? We have time for one more, right?
We have time for one more. So the last question, I have this annoying habit where every time I sit down to journal, I suddenly remember 10 other things I'd rather do. I'll decide today's the day I'm finally organizing my closet. I'll make sourdough, paint, go for a walk, literally anything. It's so weird because I actually enjoy journaling once I finally do it, but lately I can't seem to make myself start. Do you think I'm just avoiding my feelings or is there something else going on? I can speak to this because I mean, there's mainly just the piece about like the journaling, picking it up, thinking there's something wrong. So up until maybe last year, I had been journaling more or less every day for like six, 7 years. And I love collecting journals. I love like writing something down. And then suddenly last year, I just didn't have the inclination to like pick up my journal and to write. And I went through something similar where I was like, am I no longer like being spiritual, or like am I no longer developing myself personally, and is like life going to turn around and say you're not working hard on yourself anymore, so we're going to like ruin your life? And I just came to the understanding it's just seasonal. I'm like, rather than writing things down, I feel like I'm at a place where as much as I do need to still self-reflect like inwardly, being able to be grounded and just hold myself from all of the integration that I've done previously, that's just where I'm at right now. And I've kind of accepted that even though journaling has been such a big part of my practice, it's just not the season to. It's like more about voice noting or like creating or things like that. And what you're describing here, you're saying you're going to make sourdough, paint, go for a walk. That's amazing. Like what a fun mindful practice outside of journaling.
Wow. You know what's so funny? I resonate so much with what you're saying. And I also have the opposite take, well, I would actually, not the opposite take necessarily. What I would actually say is like, I think that Amelia, you're doing such a great job of really embodying and exemplifying this thing of like, I do actually know that this is not what I need right now. I've really committed to this practice. This practice has served me. And right now in this season, it no longer serves me. I totally believe that that is true. And I totally believe that we can get there. When I listened to the question, what I heard was like, I think what I really hear is like a space of disconnect, like self-disconnect. And I could be associating this from one of my clients, because this actually came up in Container not long ago, where like one of my clients did this really hard thing that basically she's been wanting to do since she entered the Container like 6 months ago. And it all happened exactly when it needed to. We didn't need to rush it. It was something we needed to take like 6 months to do. But once it finally got initiated, she went into freeze mode and she stopped journaling and she stopped like really talking to me as much and like kind of like went into a little bit of a freeze mode. Totally fine. That happens, but it's a nervous system response, right? Where she's like too much overload. And so she wasn't journaling. But she's an artist. And so she would like do her art. And there was a point at which it was very clear that like doing the art was a form of escapism, actually, that she could justify. So it's like she was doing that and still being like, but look, it's my art. I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing this thing that's good for me. When in reality, like she needed to be with her feelings, and being in the studio was keeping her from having to feel her feelings. So I think that I'm relating this to this very like real, like example that I have with a client. So I totally agree, Amelia, when you're saying like, I feel this way and this feels true to me. I really feel that as true. And there are times when I think the opposite is true, where we are avoiding our feelings. And as soon as she got back into the practice, all these clarities and realizations came out, and like all these things that she was like just not wanting or willing to face. And then it was all of a sudden like this, like, you know, a fountain of like the information from within. So I think when I hear the question, listener, I'm hearing you say, I'm in the question, I kind of heard the self-awareness of like, I think that's what I'm doing. And I will say that me personally, I get that way too. Like there are definitely weeks where like, oops, I did not pick up my journal this week. Or like every day that I pick it up, I pick up my phone 10 times in the middle and it's like, I can't stay in the experience. And when that happens, I'm like, I just keep myself aware of it and go, oh, I'm uncomfortable being here with myself because there's a little more here than I have capacity for that I feel comfortable facing. And that key is it's like a signpost to let me know I'm on the path, but I'm trying to step off of it. I'm trying to dissociate from it. So I think, listener, you're going to have to really feel into it. Like, do you feel like you're still engaging with yourself through art and action and movement? Or do you, like Amelia, or do you feel like you're not really tending to your inner garden? That's the way you're going to know. But you have to really ask yourself the question and be willing to answer it sincerely. And the moment that you're ready to answer it sincerely is the moment you can move forward.
I love that. And I really like that you brought that here because it's a really fair opposite to what I said. And
well, so was yours. That's why I was like, damn, girl, okay.
yeah. So I would be really intrigued to know like when you really tune into yourself, which one felt more resonant when you were listening to that.
Yeah. And that's for everybody listening that's having trouble with their journaling. Like, which one of those stories felt true, you know? It's like we're two different parts of like your ego story.
And we're all just figuring it out. But the fact that you're aware enough to even inquire what's happening there shows that you might probably already know. I think you
might probably already know. And since you didn't already know, you asked us and we answered. And that's the fun part about the Let Me Ask My Psychic segment, which we forgot to tell Mike to put the intro in for. But anyway, Mike, go ahead and put that intro in at the beginning of the questions, and you can leave this in as a nice little blooper for us. Okay. Well, guys, I think that is the end of our episode for today. Amelia, any last notes or messages to listeners before we sign off?
No, just love the questions. Always loving the questions. And you know that you can ask yours too for free. And you can just go to the little show notes, ask your questions, send it on through. And we look forward to answering them.
You guys, we really want to answer your questions. Send them to zoegreco.com/hotline. And there you have it, blessed babes. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. And I would love if we could take a moment to send this week's subject, our community, all of us together. Some love, sweetness, and positivity as we keep growing and glowing and shining and reaching and expanding and contracting and learning together. If you are interested in connecting with us, email us at podcast@zoegreco.com. You can find me on all socials at the Zoey Greco and Amelia over at the Velvet Page. And of course, I want to conclude by reminding you that you are important, you matter, and you are perfect exactly as you are. I love you, your spirit guides love you, Amelia loves you, and the universe loves you. So until next time, keep answering the call of your higher self. Bye, friends.